Hello. So, this is a little introduction on residual tree energy, or what I call residual tree energy. And it's like something that I've not heard a lot of talk about. Um, I've had many years to try and figure out what it is and how to use it, and how the trees and technology can go hand in hand, like perfect harmony. A very ancient technology. Uh, there's energy everywhere, but we don't really understand how to quantify it into actual explanations in scientific terms because we don't have the language or even the models to do that. So the intuition kind of hits a dead end. It's very hard to put it into a physical model because it's unexplored, so to speak. And it's not yet proven. Well, it has been in some respects, but it's not properly mapped out. So to the very best of my understanding, the larger pyramids, there's two types of pyramids. There's small ones and large ones. The small ones run on the residual energy of the aura, the person, which is just more or less a catalog of data that is fused with energy. It's energy and data at the same time. It's the easiest way to understand it. Kind of similar to the event horizon of a black hole, in a way. It's an equilibrium point. The machines can use that to power up the small ones, the very small ones, to power up and also provide the data to be put into the machine to act as an interface. But the larger machines, which I find more interesting and more magical, require something else to boot up. The trees. It's kind of about the trees. And why is it? Like, everything around here is green. Like, see that? That's a pine tree. It's a big, big pine tree. And there are other trees around as well. Native to Australia. That one's not. That's why it stands out. That one's not, I don't think, in the background. I am attracted to the non-native trees. Probably because of genetic memory or something weird. They stand out, especially the pine tree. Especially that one. But not the gums. They kind of look weird. Like alien or something. Um, so the greenness, it's all chlorophyll A and B. It's like nature's solar panel. Kind of like our hemoglobin, actually. The structure looks similar, except the iron's replaced with magnesium molecule atom. It's a transducer. It converts light to chemical energy. But it's green. Nature's chosen to absorb not the green wavelength, but mostly blue and a bit of red. So that's the energy that trees absorb. Why is that beneficial? It feels nice to be around trees. It feels really nice, and it helps balance the mind. It helps something with the mind. It like makes you feel like balanced. Some people anyway. There's like a blue there's blue and red energy that bleeds off of trees into the atmosphere, into the environment. It's blue. It's like deep blue from 400 to about 480 nanometers blue, and then a spike in the red, but it's mostly blue. So I've had years and years and years to try and understand why trees and the machines go together. And trees, or foliage, the greenness, the chlorophyll, is the perfect thing to run the machine. If there's green, there's energy. Because it's like the aura of the plants. We have like an aura around us with the trees, and nature has an aura around it. The greenness the magnesium, the chlorophyll, that molecule which is like taking the sunlight and converting it to chemical energy, is like a sign of that. And so what has chlorophyll bleeds off of blue energy, which is perfect because the machines are all of blue wavelength that fit in that area, in that spectrum. And so this residual ambient energy from the trees bleeds off into the environment, and it sits ambient. It kind of moves around. It can interact with other trees and other things slowly and subtly. It can absorb into some of the gases in the atmosphere in the hyperdimensions, not here, in the counterpart, which is very hard to detect. So you won't just discover this by measuring it. You'll see the side effect by measuring it, if you know how, if you're lucky. But the theory is that that's what happens. And so this blueness that's everywhere in the trees, especially in peaks and valleys, because it accumulates, even the natural geometry of the land can pool it as well. So if you add those two together, you have the perfect battery to run the larger machines, and it will suck that energy in and spin it up and then spit it out and continually move like a feedback. It's a feedback system. It's like a tornado that is sucking in energy and spitting it out, but sucking in more, and it keeps going, 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 and that's what it wants to do naturally without being forced. So you have the energy that runs the machines comes from the trees, the blue that's saturating the atmosphere, the super subtle stuff that we can't yet get our hands on, but is there and influenced by many different things. It's like hyperdimensional language, and it's the language that I've spent years and years and years trying my very best to map out. But there's just, to me, always been something magical about mixing trees with machines, and that's why both are one side of the same equation. The trees are the battery, like the ultimate battery that we can like take energy from and swirl it around and do all sorts of cool stuff. And the machine is what processes all of that. It processes all of that battery so that it can be used and made intelligent to balance an entire area, to terraform an area, to create it so it's so magnetic. You can tell it's taking all that tree energy and putting it into a singularity, a single point, modulating it and spitting it back out and going round and round and round and round and round. By speaking the language of nature in the hyperdimensions, you can figure this stuff out, and that's what I've tried to do. The maths, at least, and it is mathematics. It's not just saying that. It's mathematics. It's mathematics, which I explain in my other videos, but it all comes down to the fundamental constants and how to properly extrapolate and scale that up into a form in which nature recognizes exactly what that form is, and it will start manipulating the field, essentially. That, with the addition of the other prerequisites required to do this scaling. But yeah, the chi, the orgone, all of these names for the same thing. It's a hyperdimensional subtle field. It's not here, but it is here. It's here, but it's in a hyperdimension. And we can't directly access it. Not even the machine can. Well, it does, but only there. What appears here is the side effects. But we can detect it. We can detect it with our sensory. That magpie can detect it, obviously. but basically, yeah, you can detect it, but not directly. What shows up in the atomic world is the side effect. The pressure gets converted to wavelengths using a special transducer. But you can never get there because it's separate from this world. It's so strange. But it's the way things work. The ghost in the shell. It's the ghost in the shell, the ghost in the trees, the ghost in our body, inside the atomic shell. It's like this world was built from there. This is not the first world, it's the one that was built off of that one.